G'day fellas, welcome commanders. Today we are taking a look at two different strategies from the tech position. Spawning in as the team captain for the blue team, we've got Go-Go Rush, who is OS 41, playing as the Armada. And in the north of the map, in the color red, our team captain here is Dr. Sen, but he's not who we're going to be focusing on. No, instead we're going to be focusing on Quake like a duck, which I'll be real with you now. This is me. But look, we've got different strategies, and that's kind of why I wanted to highlight this, because there's quite a bit of an interesting discussion that's happened, at least with the whole idea of like different units. So this video is going to be in two parts. The first part, we're going to be taking a look at this game. It's a very short game. And then the second part, we're going to be diving into a build order that I've really done my best to optimize over the last couple of days. And I think that what we've got right now is basically what will just become standard because it's so powerful. Anyway, let's get into it. On the south side, we've got Go-Go Rush, who's going to be playing as Armada. He's going to be rushing out Fatboys. In the north, we're going to be making Quakers. What would have given that away? Well, perhaps the name. Anyway, let's talk about why or what's so interesting about this. So one of the most common themes that I see is people will say that the Fatboy is the king when it comes to games or matches on glitters. And there's a couple of reasons why that is, right? The Fatboy is big. It's difficult to deal with once your enemy has got one out. It kind of just destroys the lane. But I've often been of the mindset, well, technically, yes, it's good. It's also fragile. Even though it's got a lot of health on it, one D-gun and it's dead. So you do have to be very cautious with positioning. So that's something that we're going to be paying attention to today. We're also going to be taking a look at how we play against the Fatboy from the perspective of the Quaker. Of course, later on in the video, we'll be taking a look at the build order. So if you'd like to stick around for that, feel free to if you think that this strategy could be for you. So how do these two strategies play out? So Go-Go Rush is going to be opening with Fatboys. He's going to be doing back-to-back Fatboys. He's going to be flying them out to the front. We are going to be opening with a forward lab, so looking to position our lab down towards this position here. And then we're also going to be moving into constructors after we've made our initial Quakers. That's essentially it. So we build ourselves a whole bunch of units that we can look after. And then after that, we will be making sure that we are providing T2 for the team and getting it out there very quickly. We don't want to delay the team and their T2 that much. Now, one other thing to note is that we'll be asking for metal. At the same time, Go-Go Rush is going to be asking for metal. So that's going to be happening here. We're not going to be doing any rainbow cons, any silly shenanigans like that. But let's get into it, because I think there's a couple of different philosophies that are happening here. So already you can see a bit of a difference. Obviously, he's playing as arm, so that means wins are cheaper. So he's opting to move towards those wins a little bit more. Let me turn up the volume just a slight bit so you guys don't, so you can hear other stuff. Meanwhile, we're playing into solar collectors, and not just any solar collectors. You can see we've got advanced solar collectors coming out, and these are plus 80 energy solar collectors here, which means we're playing on the brand new balance patch. Now, with the new balance patch, there's a couple of changes. That's the season 3 balance patch. The first change is to the cost of labs. They've reduced the cost of T2 labs a little bit, but they've also increased the build point timing on it. So basically it takes longer to build them. And because of that means you're not getting your lab up as fast when you're going in for that T2. We do now start to see the advanced solar coming up. One thing to note is we have had Lazarus out at this stage. I'm curious to see the metal difference between us, 1.7k versus 2.17. So we're not, we're also utilizing that extra reclaiming of the rocks. The main difference is we do a 5 mex walk at the start, whereas I'd have to double check, but I think Go-Go Rush did a 4, maybe a 3. Actually, no, I think it was just a 3 mex start. And I feel like the 5 mex is just so much better. So let's ride on board here with Go-Go Rush as he begins. So we're at the 4-minute mark. No sign of a T2 lab just yet. Also going to be throwing down the construction turrets, which definitely makes sense here. He's got quite a bit of storage or energy storage in the bank. Now, this is quite a high OS lobby as well. If we take a look here, you'll see that it's relatively fair. Both teams have got a low OS player. Both teams have got 2 mid OS players, and then we've also got just a whole bunch of high OS players as well. And so naturally, this means that we both got a lot of high OS towards the back line, but there's also plenty of OS towards the front. And subsequently, there's no real difference. No real difference. You can see that IMO No Balance over here is going to be pushing a lower OS players down towards this position, the brown player, getting backed up by Busy Jack. And then at the same time, Cruising Bean on our side is going to be doing that same thing here, pushing into these two players. So it's very much that you've got your higher level players on the edges. Go Rush now going to be looking to bomb that commander. 4 minutes 45 seconds. Not a bad little timing here for him.
Commander self-destructed.
Oh, that was loud. Now, one thing that I would say is I would just be eating these solars. These solars are 150 metal, so you want to just get these out. Even at this stage, I'd be thinking about doing it. He's obviously got a lot of energy in the bank. If we check back towards our side, so we are yet to blow up just yet. We're actually eating our solars right here before we do that. Just remembering the fact that the commander provides 2 metal per second every second that he's alive. And as a result, it means that, well, the longer he's alive, the more metal that you're going to produce. That's essentially, it's only a small amount, right? Like the difference might be, say, 50 metal or 100 metal or something like that. But at the end of the day, that could be a unit that comes out slightly faster. It could be the difference between 8 or 9 seconds on the front line. It could be the shot that makes it, the Hail Mary.
Commander,
so that's the mindset. We've blown ours now in the north of the map. So good little timing here for him. 5 minutes 30, considering this is on the Season 3 changes. Keep that in mind, so you're not going to be seeing those same lab timings. So here you can see he's stalling out metal, not eating the commander. In fact, he's eaten the commander, and now going to come back and eat the solars, but you can see that this is kind of delayed, and this is part of the reason why I like to eat those solars early, because now up towards this top side, we've got so much metal in the bank. Our first T2 unit is out right here. That's going to be our first Quaker that's on the field. Hercules is on standby, ready to fly, but unfortunately he's asleep at the wheel. And meanwhile, towards the south side. So here is where it begins, this sort of concept, this idea between the Quaker and the Fatboy. While the Fatboy is absolutely dominant when it comes to lane presence, the Quaker, what's the key difference? It's quick, it's nimble, it can move everywhere and just constantly require an answer. So immediately we look to come down here. We put our Quakers down. Let's check in. What are the plans here for Go Rush? Go Rush is going to come out. He's going to assist. He can see this lane's kind of having a little bit of trouble here. But what's going to happen is if we turn the chat on right now, let me hit our chat on. Let's get it on. Immediately this is going to get called out that there are Quakers here. At least it should get called out by Avarice. And that's going to mean that we've had a change. So
Commander destroyed.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that's him saying right there that there's Quakers. Gets a little bit bugged out when you don't have the chat. But basically, Go Rush has now had to change where he's going, because even though this lane is dying, there's T2 over here, and he needs to make sure that his OS40 player doesn't die to Quakers in the next minute. So naturally, he's come out towards this position. So as soon as he drops down, the Fatboy lands. We even called that one out straight away. We knew it was happening. Where have the Quakers gone? They've moved. They've moved on. They have to respect the Fatboy. They can't take on a Fatboy direct to the face. It just won't happen. They can kill it if you've got good micro, if you've got repairs, then you can potentially do it. But I am not a fan of taking on the Fatboys. What I much prefer to do is go somewhere else. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, behind the scenes, the second Fatboy has already come out here for Go Rush. So he's thinking, all right, where are we going to take this? We're going to go and we're going to take it over towards this position. Because now this position, you know, initially this was collapsing towards this area. Can we, let's see. Okay, there we go. Now we've got everything up. Okay. So initially this was collapsing and he wanted to reinforce this. He couldn't do that. And the reason why he couldn't do that was because he had to come up towards this position. But now look who's there, making the problem even worse. The Quakers now come through. So naturally he can't go out and help this position because he's got to address the Quakers that are right here. And so through this game, we constantly see that Go Rush is having to react to the Quakers that are here. And as soon as we see the Fatboy, naturally we just turn around. Turn around, not interested in it. Unfortunately, towards this top side, one of the things to note is that the Fatboy, I don't know where he is. There he is on the front. He's still slowly pushing. And we don't really have an answer to that. But you know what? We don't need an answer to it, because our goal here, as we've taken out a commander right here, is to now push in. We knew that Fatboy's in this position here. And so as a result, we're now going to come down through this lane. So what's the answer for Go Rush? Is he going to go into more Fatboys? Well, he's making T2 cons, and you can see he's already got 2 with a third one coming out right now, which when you're getting pressured with this amount of Quakers and you're potentially losing lanes, it can be a bit questionable. And naturally, he's going to change that into the welder to try and deal with this. But you can see that he's struggling, right? I don't think he's been able to give out any of these T2 cons just yet. If we have a look, yeah, he's only got the 2. Actually, we're writing with his perspective. No, he's got 5 out. So I apologize. There's 1, there's 2, and there's a 5th one somewhere. Yeah, back over here. So he's got 3 out so far. Two more he's yet to hand off. If we just pause the game just to get an idea on where we're at the moment. So we're going to do the same thing on our side. Here's the advanced constructor. How many have we got? We've got 4 that are out at the moment. So we've got 1 that's coming back here, 2nd one that's coming out to yellow, 3rd one on red, and then a 4th one is... so they're both doing their thing here. So we just haven't handed one off yet, which is quite normal. It can take some time for you to hand them off. So riding back on board with Go-Go Rush, we've once again got this Fatboy here that he's controlling, that he's looking to push down the lane. It's taking quite a bit of damage. You can see he's not really got the infrastructure to help repair it. Fatboy up towards this position. You can see there's the commander. Shurikens have come in, and this is part of the reason why I have a lot of trouble with the Fatboy. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a great unit, but even the best players can have trouble with its control, can overextend a little bit, and as a result, can potentially lose out. Meanwhile, as long as we're in control of those Quakers, we're able to make sure that we're on the move, we're constantly pushing, and constantly rotating. That's the key thing with the Quakers, is making sure wherever you see those Fatboys, because now this Fatboy's holding this lane here, we're now able to come through, and the whole idea is, you can see me drawing out the arrows here, is that we want to push. We want to try and make sure we're constantly pushing. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, you can see it's a whole bunch of welders that are going to be coming out, and welders do very well against Quakers because they force the Quaker to retreat. That's it. Like, if you've got a welder walking at you, you can't really just stand there and just face tank it. I mean, you could try and shoot it down, but eventually the welder is going to get there. It's got a lot of health on it, and you can see the Quaker's going to do decent damage here, but it's going to allow all the rest of the units to come in behind. So naturally, we've got to run away from it. We don't want any of that. And the whole idea here is not to take any damage on our units. If we have a look at how much damage we've received this game, we have received 1.3k damage. We have 35k damage dealt, which means we have an efficiency of 1600%. Compare that to other players, like you've got 1.5% down here, 67%, 164. We're sitting at about 10 times the efficiency on everybody else, just simply because we're making sure that with our Quakers, we don't want to be fighting any T2 units, all right? The only thing we want to fight is T1 units. That's essentially it. That's the mindset. And then because of that, we're able to translate this over. Now, keep in mind that Cruising Bean here, he's got a decent OS advantage over his two opponents, but that's not to say that the same thing didn't exist over in this lane. We've just been very fortunate in that our brown player has done a decent job together with the white player here of holding off this little push that was towards the front side. They did push in quite far, but fortunately, they weren't really able to do any damage. And that's essentially it. From this point here, we've been able to take out 2 players, and then that obviously leaks everywhere else. If we take a look back behind the scenes here, we've got 6 advanced constructors coming out. It's 11 minutes, so it's a little bit late here. We're also working on our own T2 mexes here. If we compare that, obviously he's going to be making a lot of units, right? He's still got 6 advanced constructors out as well, but he has to make more units. And that's one of the ways that I like to think about it. If we look at the Quaker, it's got 400 cost of metal. You build 5 of them, that's 2,000 up front. Obviously, we've got the jammer, we've got the radar. I don't really include those. It's mainly about the Quaker, so 2,000 metal. I like to build 5 of them. And then from there, you think about the Fatboys. How many Fatboys have we had to have? Well, we had one up here, got D-Gun. That was it 1,200, 1,400, 1,400? And then the second one, so now you're up to 2,800. So already we're ahead by 800 metal. And now all of a sudden, you can't react to... Like, you can only have your Fatboys in 2 lanes, right? Like, if you put a Fatboy here and a Fatboy here, well, now there's a massive opening on this over on this side right here. I can't wait. I don't know why I can't draw. Oh, because I'm doing the label. There's a massive opening on this side. So now you've got to react with your own Fatboys over here. And the more Fatboys that you make, the more you're just getting further behind. So essentially, that is it from here. The canyon is just going to leak into the rest of the game. The players on the enemy team will begin to lose. And of course, our yellow player, Cruising Bean, has done a wonderful job this game in being able to sort of provide the first line of offense against this. I think one of the key components when you're doing a strategy like this is to make sure that you've got a player with a decent amount of T1. That is like the most important component. Like when you want to be pushing through, that's the key thing. You're not looking for a bunch of defenses or a high OS player. You just want a player that's got a lot of units that they're ready to move with you, so that the moment the push comes to shove, they're there to help you out. So that's it. Let's go take a look at the build order now, because as I said, I think this is by far the best build order that we've got. We're actually going to be doing it live. Okay, so we're doing this one live. We're not looking at a replay, just so I can show you exactly how it's done, talk you through it. Basically, we want to start off by opening with our metal extractor. So we're going to go ahead and put that bad boy down. From here, we're going to go into 2 more metal extractors, and we're going to be walking all 5 of these mexes before we put down our lab. We're also just going to be circling this and asking, hey, can I have, or can tech please have this? Just because having this 7th metal extractor contributes a significant amount to our economy. So after our first 3 metal extractors are down, we're then going to go ahead and put down our solar. This is going to guarantee that we've got enough energy. Now, technically, you can put this solar down after your 4th mex, but I wouldn't advise it, just because you're going to be really stalling out on energy quite a bit. So the sooner that you can get it, the better. And I think this is a nice little spot for you to do it. The other great thing about this is you're not going to be running out of metal with this build, because you do need a lot of metal, primarily because we're making a lot of solars, a lot of advanced solars. And basically, with the 5 mex opening, you don't need to do that. or you don't have any issues, basically. So from here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop down our 4th mechs, and then we're going to put down our 5th mechs. Now, I've actually got a blueprint that I run with every single game, so it's this one right here. And we're not going to use it right now, but just to talk through it and exactly how it works, we're going to be putting down 4 solars over here, as you can see. So I like to put the solars up towards the edges. So, like, there's one that we can be putting down. And then over on this side, we can, once again, look to our blueprint, just get a bit of an idea. So we're going to put our bot lab down just to start us off right here. And then from here, we're going to be working in 1, 2, 3 more solars. And that's because our solars are great. We don't have to worry about wind. And because we don't have to worry about wind, this is the same build literally every game. It's something that you can master, something that you can get very good at. Now, just before we get any further, there's a good chance that this player over here is going to ask for a T1 constructor, and that's absolutely fine. I would just recommend the best thing is to ask for a solar, and once air players start realizing this, then everybody's going to be really happy. And the reason why is because if they can provide a solar, it's going to cost them 8 seconds of build power on their commander, but doing so, you can give them the first T1 construction bot, but you can skip this solar, which means now all of a sudden this first bot is 8 seconds faster, but because it's also faster, you can boost it out. And it basically means that they are going to be getting their T1 constructor, and you give them the first one with that. Normally, you would give them the second one. Basically, it means that you're looking at about 40 seconds difference. And if we do the math on here, okay, 40 times 1.8, it turns out to be quite a bit more metal that you're going to receive from having the faster T1 constructor than actually paying 110 metal. So the main issue that you've got, if they pay you 110 metal, is that your energy is very limited with this build. So you want them to try and, or you want to get the solar, because it just works out better for everybody to have the solar. I've got like OS 40 players that routinely do it just because they know how much better it is. So I'm trying to get everybody on the bandwagon with it. Anyway, let's get back to it. So from here, we're going to go into 1 construction bot into a grave robber. If they ask for a T1 con, if they give you the solar, give it to them first. Otherwise, give them the constructor after this one. It's important that we don't boost this out. You can see right here, we want to avoid boosting it out right now. I like to wait until after this. Now, our first T1 constructor is going to build an advanced solar collector, and then it's going to go and build 1, and then 2 down here. One of the key things that we're going to do, so now we want to make sure that we boost this just at the end so it comes out first. I'm going to slow it down for you as well. We're going to slow it down right here. So you'll see that our constructor's coming out to this point. We want it to we don't want it to do that because it's going to take time for it to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we clear the bot lab, and we're going to press N on our keyboard, and that's going to stop it and tell it, hey, do your next command in queue. And so he's going to come out, he's going to put the advanced solar down, and then from there he's going to keep building that until once again he's put down the blueprint. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to hit, well, let's speed up a little bit. We're going to hit N once again, and then that's going to move him down to his next thing. And our commander here, we're going to use the space bar, and I'm going to hit this one right here. So I'm going to do a space bar onto this, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to do a space bar over to here. That's going to allow us now to have all of our solars up. The commander's going to be able to focus this one, and we'll get it back up to normal speed. Now, one of the other juggling acts that you will potentially need to do here is reclaiming the bot lab. So you can see our energy's kind of getting depleted here, and that's because we're using all of that energy in the bot lab. So what I like to do is just allow that last little bit. I'm going to slow it down here just so that we can talk about it. I like to allow that grave robber time to come out, and then from there you can just boost the advanced solar completely. From here, all we're going to be doing is just grabbing all the rocks that are available to us with this grave robber. This grave robber can just go do all the silly things that grave robbers like to do, and then after you're finished, just bring him back over towards this position. Now, what's happening here is you can see that we're running out of energy once again, so we'll speed it back up, but here, we're going to allow our energy to come up, we're going to reclaim the lab, and then we're going to go straight back on, and that's primarily because we're getting our energy drained from here. Now, we want to avoid too much in the way of draining our health from this, just in the event that there's leaks or a bomber or something like that. So 40% is a decent amount. And then we're going to try and time this here because it takes about 4 seconds for this lab to actually open up. So you want to try and time it so that that's going to happen, and boom. Now you want to boost this bad boy out. And once again, it's going to be that same story where we're putting down, and we want to make sure that the commander doesn't have to move. So we'll put it down over this side, and then he's going to come down and guard this construction bot. And we're going to be doing that another time after this as well. So let's speed it on up just a little bit. I'm going to press N on the keyboard, and commander can now come over. We're going to hit N again. And now what we're going to do with this constructor down here, while we wait, let's make sure that we're building that second one. We are indeed. So now we're going to be building our construction turret. And we're going to be building a vehicle lab as well. And we build it towards the front because we want our vehicle lab as close as we can towards the enemy. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, we're just letting the lab take advantage of the build power that it's got. We always want the constructor to come out a little bit before the solar. So we're just going to boost it just out a little bit here. We're going to throw down a third advanced solar. And then we're going to tell it to come and guard this constructor. Once again, we're going to hit the N key. We're going to hit the N key again, and we're going to tell the commander spacebar, and so it comes over here, and now he's building up this. Finally, we're going to build 2 more grave robbers, so we can throw those in the queue straight away after our 2 construction bots. So we've got a total of 3 construction bots, a total of 3 grave robbers, and a total of 3 advanced solars that we've got. So we've got quite a bit of stuff that we're working with. After this, so we're going to get this advanced solar. We're also going to go into an energy storage here, just because energy is incredibly important when you're doing this build. This 3rd grave robber here, you can just move him down towards this position. He's going to need to reclaim this vehicle lab here. So I like to get him to do like this, and then grab this, and then just come and stand here. So reclaim the rocks, and then come and grab that. And then behind the scenes, this last grave robber is going to eat the bot lab, and then he's going to come over and eat all of these solars. Now, you don't have to eat all the solars. You can leave them at like 5% health or 10% health or something like that. I always like to move my constructor a little bit forward as well, just so that you can immediately get your lab out like that, or get like immediately begin building the lab. And as you can see now, the timing here for the lab is almost perfect. We're going to start reclaiming all of these solars here with our commander, but we want to get them down to a very low amount. And here you can see our timing is absolutely perfect. So we're going to start reclaiming. We'll go back here, make sure that we move the commander. You can see it's down to 2% health. We don't want him to be draining constantly. And we're going to bring these guys up like this. Our advanced vehicle lab is going to come out right there. Make sure our commander moves on. We've eaten this one. That one's fine to eat. We can actually move the commander across at this stage. We need to make sure that we don't overflow the vehicle lab. And we're looking perfect. We can eat this one here as well. And now I'm just going to slow it down just to talk about exploding the commander. So when you're exploding the commander, these 2 red rings that you see around you are not actually the explosion radius. To see the explosion radius, you want to press spacebar and X. And that's this flashing line right here. So we want to find a spot that is not going to hit any buildings. So maybe something like that might be decent. We could look for that, but we want to make sure that we don't blow any buildings at all when we do this. So that's what we're going to be looking for here. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, we've now got our 3 Lazarus out. So remember, we've got our first one that's coming over and eating all this. Our second one that just finished this bot lab. He can move forward. He can go do, some reclaiming or repairing or whatever you want to do with him. And then this third one is going to stay at home. He's going to be the one that's responsible for eating our solars. He's going to be the one that's responsible for eating our commander. That's essentially it. So let's go ahead and speed it up back to normal. So we're going to eat these, and you can see that we've got quite a bit of metal that's stacked up in here ready to go. So how have we done for our spot? It's not too bad. We're in a little bit of trouble here. You can see we're kind of bordering. Let's repair, or let's reclaim. And as we get a little bit closer to it, we can just talk about our queue as well. We'll eat this one, and we'll eat this one, and then we'll eat this one over here. And I'm going to slow it down just so that we can talk about our queue. If we have a look here, Commander looks like he's probably ready to blow. So we probably misplaced these buildings just a little bit, because ideally you don't want anything close to this. So we'll take a little bit of damage on this energy storage. But I think we should be okay. We'll try and get him over for inches. But let's talk about our queue. I like to go 1, 2, 3 Quakers into an Omen, into an Obscura, into 2 more Quakers. I like to issue a fight command towards the 3.2. And I also like to ask for a transport from air, a light transport specifically. Okay, so here you can see the commander's about to blow. We want to make sure that we don't go within this radius, because if we do, we're going to take damage. So hopefully we're able to do this right on the first time. Wouldn't it be funny if we didn't do it right the first time? Gosh, that would be a bit awkward. I'll say that right now. All right. Looks like we've managed to do it all right here. So let's go ahead and speed it back up here. Actually, just before we speed it back up, I'm going to give myself just that air transport. So remember that, so we're going to give Atlas. So there we go. And we're going to put it on fly. We're going to put it right here towards the front. So as you can see, we're looking at a 5 minutes and 20 lab completion time, which is very nice. Commander is only just starting to be eaten right now. And what that's going to mean is that we can tell all of these guys right here to start building up this bad boy here. And this is really going to eat into our energy quite a bit when we're doing this. So let's speed it all the way up to our normal speed. He should have the fight command by default. So we're going to fly him out over towards the front. We want to find that 3.2. So this is the enemy 3.2. So we want to make sure that we fire him or bring him to the front. And now you can see that we have managed to eat all of the commander back here. So what we're going to do is now bring all of our resbots to the front. We're going to make sure that our Quaker slowly starts working down the enemy defenses. And you can see that we're flying out. So we're not going to fly this second one. We'll fly the third one out as well. We'll bring him towards the front. And we've got our 2 support vehicles. They're going to come out. One of the things I've loved to do recently, just because, look, the reality is you can't always rely on everybody on your team, is actually going into a fury. After my 5 Quakers, I like to get 1 Fury out, and then after that, I go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 advanced construction vehicles. And then that means that you've got protection from shurikens. And it does happen quite often that they will be coming through. So let's look at what we've got back in our base. We've got our 5 mexes, 3 advanced solars, and an energy storage. We've got our 5th, or our 6th, and our 7th advanced, or our normal metal extractors here. We've got our constructors, and we've also got the lab. Now, we have low power at the moment, okay? As long as everything here is on low priority, that will mean, hopefully, that these metal extractors will not store. You can actually see they're stalling right now. I don't know how to stop that then, because that's very frustrating. They should not be stalling. So you can see right now how we're on 5 metal. That should not be the case. Everything's on low priority. See, I'm very much of the mindset that, like, they need to change beyond all reason so that the metal extractors always have priority, and, like, especially if everything is on low priority. Anyway, let's focus less on that and focus more on what we're doing here, but that's essentially it. So we will eventually stall out on this. I'm only realizing this now, and this kind of hurts a lot. Maybe we add in a 4th advanced solar. In fact, I'm kind of tempted right now to say, like, you could just go ahead and just put this down right here, because the truth is you don't want to be stalling out. Like, this is incredibly bad to be stalling out the metal, because you will eventually eat into all of your metal. That's the reality. Let's make sure that we're firing down range. Final thing to talk about here, as all of our units make their way to the front eventually, keep in mind that also as your donated your donated metal, that you will have trouble with this. So you want to definitely take advantage of the fact that your constructors are back here, and you can see that we are slowly eating into that metal. And this will definitely go the other way. But in the meantime, what you want to do is definitely add in this 4th advanced solar. I think 100% makes sense. It also just really hurts the fact that you stall out metal like that. That is really bad, because you want to avoid that at all costs. I wonder if there's a point in actually waiting so that your energy returns back up before you use it. Anyway, the last component of this is your Lazarus. They are so incredibly important. So when you're controlling them, you want to turn repeat on, and all you're going to do is just press R on your keyboard and draw a circle around your units. And that's basically going to tell them, hey, if ever there's a unit in this circle that gets damaged, I want you to repair it. That's it. That's all it does. And then from here, that circle is going to change as you bring your units up. You've got these 2 that are going to be guarding up your Quakers, and your Quakers you'll continue using. So the way I like to micro them, so you can use move commands, or you can use fight commands, but don't go far with them. Just keep them close, and then use S and right click. And that's going to use your set target command. And here, this allows you, basically, the trouble that you've got is if you were to issue a fight command right here, okay, let's say you know there's units there. They might be, so we'll stop them here, but just for the sake of the argument, they might be firing down here, okay? But as soon as there's a jammer that appears right here, and they lose the ability to see those blips on the front, you know what they do? Well, they do exactly right that. They die. They will die, because they'll move forward into the enemy defenses until they can physically see the defenses, and then by that point they've moved into range. So you have to be very careful about issuing fight commands or move commands, especially if they're in a super far forward position. By the way, you can see our Lazarus back here or our grave robbers rather, need to move up. I haven't found a way to actually just keep them guarding up all of these units, because ideally what I would like them to do is just like, is there a way to just make them go like repair, and just have that on repeat? Because if that's an actual thing that you can do, and they'll just always follow them around and just wait for them to take damage, is that actually the play? Hold on. That might be the play. See, but you can see they're kind of tied to this spot. Let me have a look here. Okay, we're gonna set target right here. Let's set target right here, set target here, set target here. Wonderful. They come up immediately. See, but I think they're going to return back over to this spot. I think that's the problem. Okay, let's stop firing right now. I'm walking through this with you guys as well. Yeah, see how they return back? So how do we stop them from doing that? Let's move them up, and then after they've finished moving, so we're going to press N on the keyboard, and then we just issue repairs for all of these units. And now if we come up like this, see, they're not, like, following. Is there a way to also make them do, like, a guard command as well? But I feel like they're just going to get locked on the guard command. So if we do that, yeah, see how they're not doing it? But if we press N, then they will come up, and then they will do it all. But, like, we could move across the map, and they're just chilling out, and then the moment we take damage... So I don't know if there's a good way to solve that. So if anyone knows... So they come up, and then they will stay. I don't know what that guy's doing. Bro is just chilling out back here. Okay, there we go. Now we got the message. But yeah, so it's definitely possible. I think that's probably a decent way like that. If you just do that and then they will just follow. Because ideally you want them like this. Anyway, you guys get the idea. That's the picture. That's the way that it goes. Meanwhile, behind this, we've obviously got our 8 advanced constructors out. We've handed them off to each of the respective positions. One of the things I like to do is actually get your like maybe 3rd or 4th constructor out and then just go and start building your own base. Just keep in mind that any resources that you spend on your own mexes, you're going to be delaying the T2 cons from your allies. So if you want to ask them to help out a little bit by sending some metal, then go for it. I think the main issue that I've got is just this advanced solar collector. Like, the reality is that if something's on high priority, then it should overrule your metal extractors, but when it's on low priority, it shouldn't. And the fact that it's happening definitely makes me tempted to say, hey, put down a 4th advanced solar collector. Like, maybe after you finish the advanced vehicle plant, it could make sense to put down the 4th advanced solar collector just so that you mitigate losing all that metal, because it's a lot of metal, right? And you have the resources for it. So I think it definitely makes a lot of sense. Anyway, we're going to leave that there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. The Fatboy versus the Quaker. Which one's the king? I think it's the Quaker. I think the Quaker's better. More value, less resources. It's quick. It's nimble. And if you're controlling it and you're effective at controlling it, it is an absolute king. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one, and we'll catch you in the next one.